YouTube? TP Locks here, bringing you guys another video. Yes, today I'm going to share with you how I climbed the corporate ladder with my dreadlocks. All right, if you're interested in that video, stay tuned. Per usual, you guys, if you've not done so already, please hit that like and that subscribe button. If you have hit that like and subscribe button already, definitely want to make sure you hit that notification bell. Stay notified on all the posts the moment I post. Now, you guys, this is going to be a pretty long story, so please strap in. I'm basically going to tell you how I got it about the mud from the very beginning of my lock journey all the way up till now, okay? I started my dreadlock journey February 24th of 2017. I owe Dynasty TV, Gunther the Great, Killmonger, a few others the credit, for the inspiration to even start, dreadlock journey. My first dreadlock journey, I had a full set, and so I didn't really have any, recollection that there was a way to start, just a high top set. If it weren't for Killmonger and those guys, I would have probably still just been rocking the half, curly fro, high top that I had been rocking, which, was a look that had been pretty successful for me. But when I started my dreadlocks, you guys, my life was really at a state of turmoil. And when I say turmoil, I don't mean like chaos, it was just going terribly, but I mean like I still hadn't really found the job that I was trying to do as a career, had a baby on the way, I was recently engaged, and I really didn't have a plan on how I was really gonna piece it together. The reason why the locks are so important is because I was having to navigate these brand new sets of locks while still having to maintain this confidence in trying to get to corporate America. All right, my first job, right, the first thing that I had to do with my locks that was really impactful, the first time I took my locks and I really had to perform, was when I did my interviews for the retail store at Microsoft. Right? I'm like a lot of you guys. I went to school, I graduated with a degree, and ended up leaving college not doing the thing that I had gotten a degree for. All throughout my time in college at FAMU, go Rattlers, I was working at Walmart and found myself a job that was going to be willing to pay me more than most entry-level graphic design jobs were willing to pay me. Most graphic design jobs wanted you to either have 2 to 3 years of experience, or they wanted you to have interned with them to some extent, right? So, and that just wasn't the case. I'm like a lot of people that didn't get the best internship and just wasn't able to walk out of college with a job. It's always funny when you graduate college because it's a lot like the NFL draft. Everybody's just comparing companies. It's like, where did you go? They went to Coca-Cola, they went to Pepsi, they went to some other corporate 500 company. That wasn't my story. I graduated and I worked at Walmart. So I was grinding it out at Walmart throughout this entire process. And the time that I found out my wife was pregnant and we were engaged, there really weren't very many options for me to leverage my way into corporate America. I'm a person that's always thinking for the future. If you're a good mother, a good father, when you have a baby, it changes things. So I can't just afford to just be doing a job that doesn't have a long-term benefit. So as I was working at Walmart, I knew that I was gonna have to make a change to leverage my way into Microsoft corporate. Right? The reason I ended up choosing Microsoft is because, my sister-in-law, she had worked in Microsoft. I lived in the Pacific Northwest. And so if you live in an area that's got some major corporate entities, we had Amazon, we had Nintendo, a few other things in Seattle. So I knew that I was gonna have to try to matriculate into those areas if I wanted to live in Seattle comfortably for one, but also if I wanted that long-term trajectory. So from the retail space, I knew that I was gonna have to figure out a way to take a step back to gain a step forward. The plan that I had come up with my wife was that I was gonna take my experience as an assistant manager at Walmart and a pawn shop job that I had, and I was gonna try to find my way to leverage it into Microsoft retail. Then from there, I was gonna learn the lingo of Microsoft, I was gonna learn how to evangelize the products, and I was gonna find a way to leverage that into a corporate role.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Hindsight now, I realized that goal was it was really grandiose. It was wild, right? But I did it. So with my experience as a pawn shop assistant manager and a Walmart assistant manager, I started applying for Microsoft retail. And to my surprise, just like when I had applied for all of my graphic design jobs, I was not getting responses back. I figured as an assistant manager, I could at least get some sort of assistant manager role at retail, or at least some sort of entry level. I even applied for those and still wasn't getting a call back. So I'm at the pawn shop job at the time and I'm looking. Of course, every day I'm on Indeed.com. I see that the Microsoft store that I had been applying to in Bellevue is having a career fair. Those of you guys who have ever had split days off, y'all know how serious it is to use your day off to go spend it doing something else. All this time I have been applying, I see that I got one opportunity to go and show my stuff, show what I can do to get into this Microsoft space, right? So what do? On my day off, I go down to Bellevue, Washington, I get a suit, I've got these brand new locks, and I go and I say, you know what? I'm mad. I'm mad that these people have told me that I'm not good enough to get this job. Now, mind you, that probably wasn't true, but that's how I'm feeling. I'm mad. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna show them that not only can I do this job, I'm gonna outperform every single person in one of these activities. I'm gonna show them the intelligence. I'm gonna show them all this stuff. I'm gonna be tactful, I'm gonna be witty, I'm gonna be funny, charming, all that stuff. And so I did, and I got the job. I went there on my day off. I didn't choose to be lazy. I didn't choose to take that time off. I chose to believe in myself, and I got the job. They offered me the job. Not only did they offer me a job, they offered me a job in the corporate store that they were opening up on Microsoft corporate campus. Mind you, I'm going there with these dreadlocks. I'm sort of projecting on the idea that, you know, I'm not really confident. I'm projecting that on the people. I'm sort of wondering how they're perceiving me, but I'm really performing at such a high level that I make it undeniable in spite of my locks. I never allow anybody to look at me, just assume that I can't do the job. I always am the person that's performing, right? So I ended up getting the job. And one of the first things that I did when I got on the job was I talked to managers, I talked to everybody who had been there. Anytime you go into a new job, especially when you have aspirations to try to promote, you always have to learn what's called your KPIs, or your key performance indicators. Also develop relationships with people that are good at the job. You have to sort of establish, you know, the pecking order at the job, who knows the stuff, who knows how to get by, who knows the lingo, and you have to learn from those people, right? You have to develop real friendships, right? That's a huge thing. And so that's what I did. That was one of the first things that I did. I learned to target things that we were being measured on, and I focused in on those things. Another thing that I did from that retail position was I said yes to everything. I said yes to absolutely everything, because again, you got to understand, coming into that situation, especially coming into that situation a little insecure about locks, I knew that in order for me to promote, the best chance that I had was to say yes to everything, to put myself in those uncomfortable situations, and to learn with each experience that I said yes to. The last thing that I had to do was I had to communicate with people to really get a feel for how long it really took. When I spoke to people, this was probably one of the more discouraging things that I did. Imagine going into a space and telling your wife that you're going to get into corporate in 2 years after working in retail, and then asking people how long they've been there, and they're telling you, hey, I've been here 4 years, I've been trying to get to corporate too. I've been here 3 years, I've been trying to get to corporate too. Imagine how discouraging that could be. I failed to mention that in coming to this job, right, after I did the job fair, they didn't give me a job that paid equal to what I was making in my prior. I ended up having to take a huge pay cut. I took an entry-level role in order for the opportunity to advance toward this dream. So mind you, baby on the way, I'm making 12 something an hour after making about $50,000 at my prior job. I'm making 12 something an hour, a single income house, living in Section 8, baby on the way, engaged. All of those things, right? And I'm in this environment where I've assured my wife that in 2 years, we're gonna get into corporate America. Less than 2 years, we're gonna find our ways into a corporate role, and someone at least is alluding to the fact that it could take me 3 to 4 years, right? Somebody that knows more than me, somebody that is way more proficient at the job, someone that's got everything that I'm trying to get, you know what I'm saying? Just imagine how discouraging that could be. One thing people don't think about when it comes to like trying to perform and be a high performer at a job, it's not just about, you know, going in and doing what they tell you to do. You got to spend a considerable amount of time learning the lingo, learning the best practices, learning the tooling if there's any tooling involved. Well, I spent a lot of time just doing those things to refine and to stand out. After identifying those key performance indicators that I was talking about, I was nailing them every single day. Every single day, I was nailing one of those key performance indicators to the point where managers saw and they immediately promoted me to a business expert. From the business expert role, they started giving me the ability to be a part of orientation, to be a part of workshops, to be doing the corporate tours for, you know, new people that would come into the Redmond building. I was really making a name for myself fairly quickly because I was hungry. I was really trying to make sure I was putting my best foot forth to get my family in a better situation. One thing you guys don't realize, and in the process of this job, I would have to leave my family in a Section 8 apartment with stabbings in the elevator. Like, it just was not a good situation. I'm trying to perform with these terms that I'm just now learning. It was a high stakes situation. Not only that, I've got these locks in this corporate environment and I'm having to exude the confidence that I haven't really cultivated quite yet. I'm still learning, right? So I ended up getting promoted after really killing it at the corporate store. They ended up promoting me to a business expert. I probably spent about 6 months in my business expert role until I ended up applying for a business administration role. Another key thing you want to make sure you identify when you're trying to get to a goal is identify the precedents. Identify the people that have done the thing that you want to do. So what I had done is I had identified all the business administrators, which at that point I realized was the nearest available sort of target from where I was. And I had sort of reached out to them and I said, hey, you know, how did you make this transition? What did you have to do? What was the interview like? What are the job tasks? I did that. The first interview that I took for business administrator, I got the job. In less than a year, I had made my way into corporate. At this point, I felt affirmed. I went from making $12.50 an hour to 15 with the business expert role. Now making about 50 something, I think about 55, 60,000 a year from where I was in less than a year. I did all that in less than a year, right? All while maintaining my locks, all while maintaining this YouTube channel as well. So once I got the business admin role, I'm feeling great. I'm sort of feeling like, yes, this is panning out. I got here in less than a year. I performed, I did what I gotta do, but I'm not done yet. I still don't have the ability to get my daughter and my wife a home. This entire time it's been about providing for a family, but most importantly, being able to make enough to get my wife and my daughter, or how many other kids I wanna have, be able to make sure that I can afford a home. So in this business administration position, I'm also picking the brains of all the people that I have now available. Beautiful thing about the business admin role is that you are sort of like a catch-all position. You know, you're like a secretary, you're like a chief of staff, you pretty much do whatever they ask you to do. And one of the challenging things about this position was the fact that it sort of played on my pride a little bit. I often went in these spaces as the only guy with locks, the only, black person in the room, and to sort of have to play this subservient position with the locks, I always felt like my external sort of played into the perception or the expectation that those people may have had about me. Right? The beautiful thing was that the team that I was working for, were the complete antithesis of what I was trying to project onto them. When I got hired on, the guy who is now a mentor for me, the GM of that team, he specifically appreciated from our interview that I wasn't somebody that was looking to just, to be an admin. Nothing wrong with the admin, but he could tell that it was something that, I was just doing for now to get to that next level. He poured everything that he possibly could. I was in war room meetings, I was in staffing meetings, I was being treated like more than an admin, and he was really helping me with sort of cultivating my trajectory and where I would go next. So again, y'all know me throughout this entire time. I'm hustling, I'm looking and I'm applying. So what do? I employ the same strategy that I'd use to become a business admin. And how this came to me, honestly, was I looked at what my sister-in-law was doing. I wanted to see her position. And I said, I wonder if from a business admin, I could transition into what she's doing. It just so happened that my sister-in-law was working as a business operation associate at the time. So the first thing I did was I typed in business operation associate into the internal job search posting site. And I found this job that was in Texas. Once I clicked on that role, what I do is I'll try to see who's maintaining that role. I'll go to their LinkedIn page and I'll find, okay, well, what did they do before? And it'll kind of give me a little bit of an understanding of whether or not I could qualify for that role. What I identified was that several of the people that were working in this current position had transitioned from the stores. So that told me, wow, this is a position that I could probably apply for. By the grace of God, it's something that directly aligns with someone that I know that kind of steered me in this direction. Wow, I can do this. I reached out to the hiring manager, I got an interview, and I got the job. This job paid me substantially more, gave us the ability to move out of the Section 8 housing that we were at, get a bigger apartment, get a home. I was only at that business admin position, maybe, I wanna say 8 to 9 months. So if you look back at how long it took me less than 2 years to go from an entry-level Microsoft position all the way now to a position that's gonna do exactly what I had sought out to do. Now, the reason I wanted to share this story with you guys is because I know a lot of people can relate to it. I know there's some people in this exact position right now who are gonna pick up the little gems that I've dropped, the little best practices and tips, and are gonna employ them in their lives, and it's gonna give them some benefit. I think that's what it's all about. You guys gotta know that When I say we got it out the mud, we got it out the mud. Throughout this entire process, my wife and I have chosen to go the traditional route. So the traditional route is my wife at home and me specifically focusing on the responsibility of bringing home the finances to take care of the bill. A lot of people kind of talk about the whole Kevin Samuels thing and, you know, that's what women expect. My wife was there the entire time grinding it out. And mind you, my wife was making more money than me when we first got together. When I was working at Walmart making the little, you know, 49 that I was making, she was making more than me. When she ended up getting pregnant, she decided to stay with the kids. And as a man, I took myself to task to figure out how to make it work. Some of the things that we had to do really required us to make sacrifices. The only way that I could even afford Section 8 housing was I had to do the little thing on your taxes where you basically zero out your exemption so you get all your check up front. If I didn't do that and I allowed them to take the taxes out of my check, we wouldn't have even been able to afford Section 8 housing. Now, to fast forward all the way to 2022, we're gonna be closing in on a home. I was doing that all throughout the process of making YouTube videos every single week. My wife sacrificing every single week to make sure that I had time after work, after being at home with my daughter the entire time in a Section 8 apartment, to allow me to do videos, right? You see where we are on YouTube right now. You know, almost at 50,000 subscribers. All this grind happened at the same time, really simultaneously. Really through it all, you guys, my locks or my lock journey has never, ever been a hindrance. You get a lot of people talking about how you can't climb the corporate ladder with locks. That wasn't my experience. Every time I got into a role, I was focused on performing at a high level, my KPIs, I was just focusing on getting it. And my locks never really came into play. Everything that I dealt with my locks were what I projected onto other people, whether it be my lack of confidence, stereotypes that I had held for myself, thoughts of, you know, what I had carried from family members. Locks never hindered anything that I dealt with at work. In fact, if anything, I excelled at a much quicker pace than most people, even people who didn't have locks. I just want to encourage a lot of people out there that when it comes to matriculating into any environment, you got to know that it's going to take hard work. There are several people out there in several different sectors that are maintaining jobs, whether it be in news, media, legal, doctors, nurses, on every single sector known to man. There are stories, countless stories out there with people with locks being successful. Locks will not hinder you. It's your mindset that'll hinder you. And I can't say that today we don't still deal with job discrimination. I'm not here to say that if you have locks and you're not able to get a position, you just need to work harder, because at the end of the day, I understand that there are people out there who have limited resources. Microsoft offices aren't everywhere across the world. There's not a lot of corporate opportunities or job opportunities everywhere. I have not lost that umbilical cord attached to those places. I just want people to understand that when it comes to bettering your situation, if you want to do it, you absolutely can. Put God first, obsess over it, maintain your conviction, and don't let anybody deter you. Even when you can get discouraged, even when you got people that say you can't do it, even when you got people that say not to do it, you can do it, you guys. But I hope this video inspires some of you. I hope this gives you a little bit more information about me. If you ever need any questions about your journey, or just how to matriculate into corporate environments, or just how to perform, or just mindsets that you should employ when you're trying to get promotions, feel free to reach out to me. I can't say that I have all the answers, but I can give you my experience as I have today. All right, it's been TV Locks, signing out.
Yo, TP Locks fam, what is going on? You already know it's your boy Backpack Beats. If you like the music on my homie TP's channel, definitely come over to my channel. I got more of these. I'm making beats every week. I'm also DJing every week for the No More Free Beat Show. So definitely make sure you stay tuned in. Got a lot of stuff popping. I appreciate everybody who's been coming from TP's channel as well. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate y'all for coming through, showing love. It's nothing but a community over here for real. We got the dope vibes. So definitely stay tuned to what we doing on TP's channel. Make sure you stay tuned to what I'm doing on my channel also. And it's gonna be fire, man. Dope beats, dope music, dope vibes. Appreciate y'all. Peace.